Hey, Mr. Rob on the road. Good afternoon. Well, not quite. 1 minute. And then she is afternoon. Okay. Gathered up all my words. And looks like Sharon was in the house earlier. Maybe she just stopped in to say hi. I think Ron is live. He's live all the time, that guy. Trouble with Ron? I think his channel. What? Also purple. Oh, the what do you call it? Icon. Yeah, the word's purple. You got that right. It's the first word on the game. Purple. I shouldn't have put that on there. What an idiot. Well, maybe nobody will realize it, except you did. So finally, a nice sunny day today, but still windy. I can't even go out and fly my drone. For the last week, at least a week, it's been windy every single day and night. Can't get out and fly. So hopefully there'll be a few people show up and we can play a game, that word game. I should have just put a not an icon. What the heck do you call that? A thumbnail. I should have put a thumbnail up there with just we're having a word game instead of the word. And what do you know? Stream Elements is working for a change. So right now it's 15.1 degrees outside. And it's been pretty cold. Like this here in Medicine Hat here already this year in September already started. October here is colder than it gets in Vancouver all winter. So no wonder I go to Vancouver in the winter. So Sharon says, good afternoon, Wayne, and hi, y'all. But I don't think she's in the house right now. She's probably busy doing something or watching, what's his name, Ron. So we'll have to see what's going on today. I invited a couple of friends of mine from relatives, actually, from cousins from Turkey. I don't know if they're maybe not necessarily YouTube people, so they might not even show up. And I don't know what time it is in Turkey anyway, right now. That's like on the other side of the world, man. It's got to be nighttime, dark. See if I can get something going here. I'm in a place where at least I'm hoping Wi-Fi is much better. Where I was last night, Wi-Fi goes off at 11 o'clock at night. So if you're doing something important, better make sure you get it done. Otherwise, it's off. There, that turned that off. So they say that my large suitcase, I'm allowed like 50 pounds. It's and then the size, of course, is within the size, but the weight says it's 50 pounds. And all I've got in there is clothing and a pair pair of sandals, shoe sandals. Nothing else to have for weight, and yet it's heavy. I'm going to have to weigh the thing and find out how heavy that really is. And the other one, the carry-on, it's within its size, but you're only allowed 9 pounds, and that thing is got camera equipment, like no clothing at all, just camera equipment and stuff. So I don't want them to throw that down underneath 22 kilograms. Yeah, I know. 22 kilos is not very much for carry-on. What is that? That's 9 pounds, right? 22 kilos is 9 pounds. And then I haven't even got my drone in there yet. I've got one drone I've got to put in there yet. And then I have a carry-on. You're allowed 2 carry-ons. Well, one to go under your feet. It's like a backpack. But it's got my Mavic drone. That's all that's in there. My Mavic drone. It's heavy. I guess if you want to take your drones, you got to deal with the weight restrictions. So that's what's going on with that. And I hope I can get those on there. 22 kilos. Oh, for the big guy. That's the one that goes and check in. Yeah, 50 pounds. And it's heavy. I'm sure it's more than 50 pounds. I'll have to get some sort of a weigh scale and or go to somebody's house that has a weigh scale and put it on there and see what we got. I'm not too good at, lifting it up and seeing what I have for. Let me get this. It feels like the computer is turned sideways, and yet now it's straight on. I'm in the middle. What is going on today with you? I take it you're home. Probably evening it where you are, of course, like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. You're in the future. What's it like tomorrow? Just about. Well, not just about, but. My goodness. Who else? There was somebody else that they were going to pop in, play word game. I got some more still shots from Sharon. She sent in some more pictures. Oh, editing videos and photos. Oh, cool. I like editing videos and photos. Sometimes I'm in a hurry. I don't do such a great job, but not a great job as far as what the video looks like, but a great job as far as something that's good for the internet or for YouTube. I just sort of put it together, color correct it a little bit here and there, and get it ready for putting it online. I don't try to make it super fantastic for like clickbait stuff. I don't really care too much about that part. I just want to get the video out for myself so I can go back and look, which I have done. I've gone back and looked at from day one, like where I've been. It's amazing. All those places I've been to, I don't remember half of the places. But when I was looking at the videos, I was, holy smokes, yeah, that was interesting. Hang on, let me post this up where I can read it up and big. Way down, if I leave it on the bottom there, it's a little too small to read. Right now, McDonald's has a Monopoly game going on the cups of coffee. They give you, I got Lake Louise, my little one ticket for Lake Louise, and I have Signal Hill. I don't have the game. I don't play it. Can't win anyway, so. So no matter how good the quality, Facebook will destroy it with compression. Oh, really? I post stuff on like when I post it on YouTube. I guess you're familiar with that. I think when you post something to YouTube, uh, at the very end when it's finished and you say okay, publish, another box pops up with a whole bunch of different media sources, and the only ones on there that I have an account with is Facebook and Twitter. I don't even go to Twitter at all ever, so I don't know what's on there. But it's one place. It's just one click. You click on the Twitter icon, and it uploads your video to Twitter, and then I just say follow me on YouTube. And then Facebook is another one. It says you want to post this to Facebook, and it puts it on Facebook for me. Other than that, I don't really go to Facebook or to Twitter to see what's going on there, who's there, what people are saying. So yeah, I suppose they do have some winners with the Monopoly game, but I've never ever come close. I did know a friend one time that won a vehicle, a car, with beer. When you pop the beer cans, when you pop the lid for the beer can, it said he was a winner. There was a message in there saying he was audible, um, saying he was a winner, and he won a vehicle. It was the first time I ever knew anybody that won anything like that. Yeah, when McDonald's has, you could win a free coffee or a donut or something like that, or Tim Hortons does that too. I never bother with cross-posting upload anything above 720, and Facebook will compress it down. I prefer to upload on 4K and let people choose their resolution. Yeah, if Facebook goes down to 720, I always, all my cameras are all set to 1920 by 1080, 1080p, and it's just the way because my cameras are like that. My video editing software, I have it set for 1080p, and I mean, face our YouTube most of the time is 720 anyway. It looks pretty good. Um, I wear glasses and I don't see perfectly well, anyways. So you won £5 when I opened a bag of chips. Oh, really? There was a tag in there, I suppose, saying you won. And then what did you just take it to your local grocery store or uh, wherever the contest was, and get your money? Some lady the other day was fined or caught. You know, when you buy a lottery ticket at a corner store, like, and then you take it back and they scan it for you to see if you're a winner or not. Well, she told the lady she wasn't a winner, and it was a $5 million ticket. So she got caught though. $5 million ticket. Wakey RC Paul. The old Western chips giveaway. The old Western? No, Walker's. The old Walker's chip giveaway. Yeah, see, that text is so small I can't read it unless I post it up here. Now I can read it. The old Walker's chips. We don't have Walker's chips over here. I don't think. I haven't seen them. That's new to me. Walker's chips. Wow. Okay. I mean, yeah, I've won what everybody wins, like a free coffee or a donut or something from Tim Hortons or something like that, but never anything big. My father, on the other hand, he used to like to play bingo, and he'd go to the bingo hall. And Medicine Hat is a city of 60,000 people, 65,000 people. Now it's played in three or four cities, though. This one bingo game, the numbers and everything are come up. So Calgary was involved, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge. So there's lots and lots of people playing bingo, and so one of the games started, and he was telling me, I wasn't there, but he was telling me that the number you needed 4 or 5 in a row or something in a line or something like that for a $10,000 prize. And he got, well, I don't know if it's 4 numbers. He got 3 numbers right off the bat, for 1, 2, 3, bang. And then 2 other numbers came up, and then finally his last number. And he was the only winner, $10,000. So that was pretty good. Oh, Lay's potato chips. Okay. Yeah, we have lots of Lay's potato chips here. So that's Walker's, is it? They're one of the cheaper ones around here, Lay's. So they have those. So, okay, Paul, what was the word on the thumbnail? Rob guessed it right away. Well, he typed it in. I'm trying to have a word game, but I was hoping a couple of friends that I invited, I was hoping they'd pop in, but apparently not. Of course, I've been on for 18 minutes. Well, they should have been here. The thumbnail for the live stream, unless you don't get to see that, there's a thumbnail that's posted for all live streams. For today's live stream has actually, I think it also says Wayne's World word game or something to that effect, and then the thumbnail. And the thumbnail, I never realized it, but it's the first scrambled up word in the game. And then Rob came on and typed in the word. He said, "Oh, this is a word here." And I thought, "Oh, okay." I'd given you lots of time to figure out what the first word is. They're only 6-lettered words, which they're not bad. Some of them are real easy, and some of them are, they don't just pop out at you right away. But you'd be surprised at some of them how a 6-lettered word is so hard to figure out what it is. I had to make sure I write them all down, the real word, so I know what the word is coming up. Otherwise, it's hard to figure out. Oh yeah, see that you got her, purple. There was another one too, word game, or not? It wasn't a game, but words, like all the colors, like red, black, green, yellow, blue, but the word itself was colored. So like the word blue would be colored in red, and so on and so forth. They're all the wrong. The word was the wrong color that it was colored with, and that that is hard to read. It's strange. Your brain figures it sees the color, but the word is not associated with the color itself. It's a different word. So you have to think about it sometimes. More than difficult. Your favorite color and band. Purple. Deep purple? You must be, if it's deep purple, you must be old like me. I don't know too many young kids that know what deep purple is. Oh, French. We got in Canada here. We got French on every 57. You're just a youngster as far as I'm concerned. In Canada, we pay millions and millions of dollars to have everything you buy has got to have French on it, English and French. We pay lots of money for that, and I can't read French anyway. I don't know what the population of all of Canada is French. Well, no, you can't feel 77. That's older than me. I guess it all depends on how old you feel. Like, I know I'm 70, but I don't feel like I'm 70, although I'm, basically healthy. I hope I don't have that problem that I'm thinking I have. That would be horrible. Although I don't remember anyone in my family history that has had or died from cancer at all. They all died from something else. My father was diabetes. My uncle is still alive. He's in his 90s, 91, 92, 93, in there somewhere. Has diabetes, but he's 92. Apparently only 21.4% of Canada is French. No way. 21%? Yikes. And actually, where I'm from, like, we were forced at grade 7 in school, we were forced to take French. That was one class we had to take. And the teacher, when we walked in the class, the very first day, she said there will be no English spoken in this class from now on. It's all French. Yeah, she spoke some English to get her point across, but it was totally French. Now, in where I'm at here, it would be better in the west part of Canada that we speak German. There's just a lot of German people here. Medicine Hat had a German not a concentration camp, but what do you call them? War. This is where they kept them. It was in Medicine Hat here. Oh, really? They have never signed a. Wow. Well, it seems like over there, most of the countries keep to themselves. Yeah, we were forced also for one year anyway. The grade 7, I think it was. Yeah, grade 8, you didn't have to. You could take it again if you wanted. But I wouldn't mind at this point in time being tutored or whatever in Spanish. So when I go to Mexico, I can at least have they just seem to talk too fast for me. I can hear the words sometimes. I can pick out the odd word, but they just talk way too fast for me. and obviously I have some sort of Canadian accent with me. To me, it sounds like I'm speaking okay, but yeah, it seems like Spanish to me is most of it is forward, like English. Well, to me, English is forward. German, again, there on the other hand, is backwards. They say things backwards. So Spanish to me is almost forward. You could word for word this way, but when you talk about certain things, like for example, um, tomato salad. In English, we call that like a tomato salad. Can I have a tomato salad? In Spanish, it's can I have a salad tomato? Like, I guess they take what the thing you're talking about first and then after. Um, a fish sandwich. Well, they say a sandwich fish. And if I'm speaking and I don't know to switch it backwards, I'll say it forward, like fish sandwich, and they'll probably look at me saying, "What? No, it's the other way around." I guess they could understand what I'm talking about anyway. Hello, Tommy. Uh, we're just talking about forwards and backwards languages. um, of war criminals to Canada after World War II. Uh, estimates suggest around 2,000 by illegal means. Would make sense there being a strong German language link there. Yeah, uh, the place called like where we go to have our stampede and rodeo in Medicine Hat here is in this like the stampede grounds they call them. There's a big green building. There used to be a whole bunch of uh, barracks for the Canadian Army, and then where they would house the German prisoners of war. Now the big green building is where they housed a lot of them, and that's still here, it's still up. But back when they had that prisoners of war there was one German fellow that hung himself from the rafters up there, and everybody points to that's where the location was. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the hanging was probably true, but there was a lot of German prisoners of war here in Medicine Hat. The legal ones went to NASA. Yeah. So, Tommy, I'm hoping that some other people would show up because I would love to play that word game. You know, you used to play that game way back when I started with that. Um, the thumbnail on my live today is got one of those words on it, and I think the title was Wayne's World Word Game. I think that's what it was. So it's pretty hard to play a word game when you have one person. Are you camping, Tommy, or did you go camping? You said you were getting ready for it, and you were showing the inside of your unit there. That's pretty nice. That's much bigger than my unit here. I got just an aisleway. I can't walk around. I have tables that I could set up in here, but I just don't want to bother dragging out those poles and then putting the tables on the poles. It'd be something better if you had it like permanent, so you could sit at the table. I literally just got home from camping and was hooking all my computer equipment up and saw that you were live. Oh, cool. Was that when I won the bracelet? That could be, yes, as a matter of fact. I gave away bracelets at that time. I mean, it's not that I don't mind doing that. The actual bracelets are not like $100 or more. Like they're not, well, they're not cheap, but they're not expensive. But it's the sending them out to people, like to ship them. Shipping costs in Canada are horrendous. It costs you 3 times more or 4 times more than the item you're going to send for shipping. And I'd love to have contests where you could win things, but uh, a physical thing, like something, because you don't want to have a contest and then say whoever wins has got to pay the shipping. Like that's not good. So I did set up one time a Amazon gift card. Now that's a little different. You can make $5, $10, whatever, $20 gift cards. That only just costs me money, but at least it's a gift that you don't have to get shipped. You just go to Amazon and say, "Oh, there's my gift card," and you can spend it. It's pretty hard to spend $5 in gift cards, but at least money is money. So I'm here waiting. One of Trump's video. So, yeah, there's all kinds of news about Trump in the news again, showing Biden and how he makes such mistakes. Biden was saying something to the effect that we can't have Trump as a runner for next president because he'll probably win. And he meant it the other way around. Like he's such a goofball. Lottery recently, we're having multiple strikes by the post office. Uh, Want to bet some New Year, all of the prices skyrocket. That's the thing. It's hard to, it's uh, the man should go off to jail. Who, Biden or Trump or both? Um, if you're gonna, okay, I think everybody hates Trump, but you got to take into consideration though that he is at least for the country of the United States. Like he wants, he does want America to be great again. Like why should they make iPhones and why should they make things in China or China, and then have them shipped to the U.S. to sell? Why can't you make them? I know the cost. That's why they went there in the first place, because the cost of making them is just too much money. But at least Trump is. It's hard to say. I mean, he might be a real, not such a good president, but he wants good for his country. He said it, and it is true. The country is falling apart, and the way Biden is in there, Japan and China and all those other countries, they don't even consider the U.S. as any kind of threat anymore. Like it's just incredible. You used to work for the Royal Mail. My sympathy is with them. Okay, that's the thing. It's getting harder and harder to. Oh, really? Incited a riot and some died. Holy, holy Hannah. In some country, I just saw on the news, there was a Halloween gathering and 146 people were killed, squashed or what, by not a riot. It was just mass of people. 146 of them were killed. Amazing. Well, that's the idea. That's why people went to China, because Chinese people can make things really, really cheap. So that's why countries ship off to other countries to have them made. But if every country was to make their things in their own country, yeah, that's a hard one, isn't it? Like, if it costs 5 times more to make it in your own country than it would in another country, it's nice to have it made in another country. But it's really weird when you can have it made in China and then ship it back to Canada or the US and sell it at an exorbitant price anyway. Like, yeah, I know, Tommy. Like, when you got 2 people to vote for president or prime minister or whatever country, you only got 2 to vote for in the end, like, and they're both corrupt. You either just don't vote, or I mean, it's unbelievable. When they stormed the Capitol, oh wow! I didn't know that. What's her name? Pelosi from the U.S. There, her husband was attacked with a hammer. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't followed up on it. Nor can they compete with the cost. Well, that's the whole thing. You just can't. At this point in time, you can't do it. I mean, everybody in the U.S. If you don't make $20 or more an hour, so you want a high wage, and when you're making a product, how can you sell it cheap? Like, if you're making those there, you can't make money. And the idea is, why would you make things if you can't make money? The whole idea is a business to make money. And more and more and more land here in Canada is being bought up by the Chinese. Like, pretty soon and factories and things and everything, they're buying everything. And no, I haven't heard of what happened to the Capitol. What do you mean? The Capitol what? Like, capital as in, is the capital DC? It's called Dominican Republic or whatever it is. Is that what you're talking about? I don't watch TV. I have a TV here, but because I'm living in a van, it's hard to get a station, especially in Medicine Hat. I think we get one, I think, is all across Canada. That's CBC. When you're in Vancouver, I got 14 free channels. January the 6th, insurrection 2021. Washington, D.C. Okay. So fill me in then. What happened there? Was there some sort of a riot there? And why was there a riot? Who incited the riot? What the heck is going on there? Trump wouldn't concede to Biden, so he resorted to Twitter and his numpties rioted. So you mean Trump was behind the riot? Holy! I guess he won't be voted in next year or next election. I did see one time where Trump was going to court for something that they were trying to get him on, but he won one and lost another one. Or, like I said, I don't follow too much. I don't really like to watch news because is there any such thing as good news? There is no good news, and I hate to watch bad shit all the time. Trump supporters, allegedly encouraged by Trump, stormed the Capitol and invaded the building. No way. Yeah, I know. I think he does plan to run because I heard somewhere. Whatever I hear from YouTube. I don't hear from television. And Biden was on there saying something about he'll win again next time. He's too old to win again. I mean, even if he does, he's just too old to. He's getting senile. It'd be better if you had someone else come in that is still going to be not good, but I don't care who wins. They're all have something. They all say great things, but that never ever happens. People got hurt and killed. Yeah, I heard Paul was saying that uh, some people were killed, or maybe it was Rob. I don't remember, but yeah, yeah. I don't know how old Biden is. He must be in his 80s. I don't know how old Trump is. He must be in his 70s. But yeah, I don't know of any politician. Have you guys got good politicians in your country? Like somebody you can trust? Like ever since I've been born, since day one, there's never been a politician. Well, yes, though we've had one prime minister in Canada that a lot of people liked, and he didn't. Was Harper because he was from the West. He was from Alberta. All the other politicians are from the East, from French Quebec, in that area, Montreal. So, and all of them talk like, hey, we can do this and we can do that. And our party is going to do this for you. And things are going to be great. And yet, support the campaign of Rob 2024. And we had one politician here in Canada. His name was Chrétien. I don't know if you know that name, Chrétien. He had uh, he had something called Bell's palsy, where it's exactly half your face is like you can't. Half your face is not working right. Right, exactly half. I had that. Half my was right down the center. I could flare my one nostril, but I couldn't do the other one because of this Bell's palsy. Mine went away. Chrétien had that. So when he talked out of the side of his mouth. And yeah, we'll vote for you there, Rob. Somebody new. Like there's a new guy coming up. I don't know him very well. I forget his name now. A politician for Canada, and Trudeau is kind of worried about him. But let's have a vote. Trudeau has just been in there too long, and yeah, yeah, really very close to 90. But when you listen to him talk, sometimes he just can't form a complete sentence, or he'll stumble and not know what he's talking about. It's just like how I know he's a puppet. He's only the person that takes the hits, uh, but somebody else is actually running the show. And some people were saying it's probably uh, Obama is telling him what to do, and so he's just a puppet. But yes, he has to know kind of in the world what's going on. Those who have no interest in power are the ones who you can trust. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They all pass that test. They all, and they all say good things that they want you to hear when they're running. And the minute they're in, they do none of what they were saying. None. Like the population of all of the United States, I don't know what it is exactly, but 350 million people. 350 million. And when Biden got in, it was big talk about COVID, and he said out loud in a statement saying that we have vaccinated now over 350 million people. Like that's the whole population of all of United States. Like what? He doesn't even know how many people live there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, see, 330, 350 million. And he said something about more than the population that they have in all of the United States was vaccinated. Like, he just doesn't know numbers. He didn't even know how many people live there in the U.S. And the U.S., that's 10 times more than what they have in Canada. 10 times? 100 times? I don't know. It's lots more. And then the COVID thing is another story we don't want to talk about. Like that thing was created for the purpose of what it's doing. It was created for that. It wasn't just something that popped up. All the anti-virus stuff was created before the thing came out. Yeah, right. The ones that actually filled out the paper and said, "Yeah, I'm a citizen of the U.S." The ones in way out in the boondocks somewhere. So, wonder what happened to my friend. That's been 48 minutes and they didn't even show up. Amazing. I thought they were going to. They're from Turkey though. It's probably dark there, midnight. Was it nice weather for you? And another question: how far did you go from home? Your home? Did you tent this time, or did you take your trailer? Well, you guys are living in the future. You and Rob there, both of you's probably dark where both of you are, especially if you're in the northern type hemisphere. It gets dark in the midwinter here. It gets dark like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like what? And then when you go near the equator, you got the same time of day and night all the time, which is okay. I mean, the sun goes down in Mexico way before here. Well, not before here, but early. But it's that time all the time. So that's okay. I'm fine with that. I like the temperatures are different. Sharon is in Florida somewhere. I think she lives there. She was emailing me the other day, sent me some more photos for a photo thing. And she was saying it was just 80 some degrees there or something where she is. And she's right across the Gulf of Mexico from where I'm going. So it's going to be around the same temperature there too. Isn't a tent a little risky for bears? All depends if you're in bear country. I was a couple hours away. I was in a trailer. I won't tent or camp unless I had some friends that were in a trailer, and a black bear must have known that they were in there or something, and was banging on the back end of it and busted it open. So I guess it don't matter if you're in a tent or not. They were in a trailer. And these trailers are made with very, very thin aluminum siding and then wood 2x4. Well, they're not even 2x4s, 2x2s, and then wood paneling on the inside. We are 1945 again. Yeah, no kidding there, Rob. You're at a state park. It was too loud and a little too cool. And I don't know, do all bears hibernate in the winter? So when it's cold out, we used to do winter tent camping in the winter in the snow. Not far from here, 30 miles away. All right, Paul. Sandwich sounds good. I think I'll later on when I hang up, I'll have myself a tomato sandwich. Love that. Thanks for popping in, my friend. And have yourself a sandwich and a coffee, whatever. And if you get bored later on, pop back. I don't know how long I'm going to be on. I was waiting for my friends. They didn't show up. I wanted to have that word game. Like I said, it's too hard to have a word game when you have like one or two people. That's not fun. There's no prizes, though. I can't. If I was a multimillionaire, I'd have some great prizes. Well, your trailer, does it have a built-in heater? It's a pull behind. Mr. Ronney Braun, here's a guy that has diesel heaters. I was just going to talk about diesel heaters. You can, if you don't have a furnace in your unit, you could put a diesel heater in there. Diesel heaters are real cheap, and they're safe and very nice. You just have to make 2 holes in the floor or somewhere where you can intake and exhaust. Very, very easy to. Now you can get some that are like self-contained units. You just grab the handle and carry it around, but it still has hoses that come out the bottom, 2 of them, an intake and an exhaust. You can't exhaust the stuff inside where you're, because none of the air that is being heated is being burnt. It's just hot, or it's circulating the air that's inside your unit, which blows over the heat chamber, which is hot, and it makes the air beautiful, nice dry heat. Oh, well, if you have hookups, that's great. Then you can go with electrical Burning. Now your propane heater furnace is different than a propane heater that you like. What do you call those? Buddy heater. When you use one of those, you're going to get a lot of moisture in the air. But your furnace in your camper burns propane, but it exhausts the propane exhaust outside. So you're just getting nice dry heat there again. So those are cool. I have one of those in my unit here. I just don't happen to use it. I use a diesel heater, which is much more efficient than that. And then I don't burn my propane up like for my stove. Although my propane lasts a long time. I think I have a 30-pound tank under the vehicle, which I've been in this van for 5 years, and I think I filled it 3 times. So I don't cook a lot though either. You can make one whole roughly baseball size. Had hookups. I lost concentration there. I don't know what you're talking about. Football size or baseball size. Oh, okay. Well, mine is a 1995 unit. I fired it up a couple of times just to see how it works. I have vents, 3 vents here, but I tried it this summer here just to see if I could get it going, and there's something wrong with it. And there's only 3 major things that can go wrong with it, and those are easy to fix. I just didn't bother testing, or because I use my diesel heater anyway. So I figured, oh well, if I go to sell this unit and live in an apartment, then I might fix it, and whoever buys it will, at least they can use it. I'll leave the diesel heater in here anyway, and the solar panel, I'll leave that on the roof, and all the solar stuff. Like right now, I got 13.2 volts in here. It's nice and sunny today. But wintertime, the sun is like low on the horizon. It's not straight up, so yeah, it builds up to 14 volts, but you can use that up fast. It's strange how that works. Wow, 4 electrical heaters. You're in a like a camper, aren't you, Ronnie? You're in a bigger unit, like a 30-foot unit maybe, or so, or 20 some odd feet unit. Yeah, 1 diesel heater might not be enough. And there again, I wouldn't buy an 8,000 if you're buying the Chinese one. Just get a couple of 5,000s. Like somebody was saying, a 2,000 in here would be good. But the only problem is with a 2,000, it's going to be running more faster and not necessarily burning more fuel. Well, yes, maybe so. But more cost efficient would be I have a 5,000, and an 8,000 is just a Chinese way of cheating you. They're only a 5,000, but in the programming of the computer, they bump it up to make it look and act like a 8,000 or a 5,000. They're physically the same size, whereas a 2,000 is physically smaller. It's a smaller whole unit. My trailer's an 87. I did test it when I first got the trailer, and it did work back then in 2016. Well, cool. I think maybe just from sitting, sometimes things, then they don't work. Do your heaters have blowers? Make the necessary. Yeah, there's lots of YouTube things out there for exactly what you're looking for, and they're easy to actually fix if you have to take the time and whatever to do it though. That's the whole problem. Hey, Sharon is in the house. I did get your latest photos you sent to me. You were the first one here earlier. You'd said something about hi, and I wasn't on yet. It was about 10 or 20 minutes before I came on. You can have the diesel heater in one unit completely set up and put through a hole and bolt it down. Yeah, and you can direct with the diesel heater. It has a hose on the front, and then you can direct it where you want the heat to go. It puts out a lot of really good heat. It's like almost 200 degrees coming out of the end, and it's just circulating the air. It's not. You can make it so that it sucks outside air, but you don't want to do that. You want to circulate the air that's in the unit. I put those covers on the outside to keep out wasps and such. Yeah. Well, there's like a mouse could get in there. The diesel heater has two hoses, an intake and an exhaust. Well, I don't. He could probably crawl in the exhaust if he could get to the end of it somehow and crawl in there. But they could crawl into the intake if they can get in there also. But a mouse wouldn't want to go in there because the only place it goes to the intake and then goes to the burn chamber where there's fire and then exhausts back out. It never comes inside the unit. So even going in there, he couldn't get inside your inside your unit. So pity a poor little mouse that crawls in there. He'd be burnt. And you don't get no smell anyways. You don't smell anything that's burning. And somebody was saying, well, what about fire? You could catch fire. Well, anytime you're burning something in a unit, like whatever it is, gasoline, propane, diesel, there's always a chance. But these are so safe that it's just, in my opinion anyways, it's perfectly safe. And even Ronney Braun, I think you have two units. He must also see that it's perfectly safe. 25 foot. Yeah, you probably in the winter when it's cold, you probably got them running 24 hours and get the temperature pumped up to whatever you want. But once it's at that temperature, it should slow down unless it's really cold, and it can't get the temperature up to what you set it at. Like if you set it for in Celsius, like if you set it for 25 degrees, which is hot, if it never can get there, it'll never slow down. It'll just be pumping all the time. But the amount of fuel that it burns is pretty good. It's I don't think it's as much as propane, so you'll get a good burn out of it. Now, when I was an Amazon affiliate, I had diesel heaters set up that people would come on and they would buy through my name. I sold 30 of those online, 30 of them, and I would collect $25 a piece for every time someone purchased one. But then they took away some money from me from two people, and they said, well, you can't sell products to family or friends. And I just told them, I said, I don't know that person. They're not my friend. They're from a different province than I live even. And like, what's the problem there? And there is no recourse. You can't say no, that wasn't my friend or my family. If they just deny you the payment for it, you're just denied. So I quit. I gave up. Why should I advertise for a multi-billion-dollar company and sell something when I don't even get paid for it? If they can't afford to pay me $25 a unit that I sell every once in a while, like what? Like give me a break. When it's idling, it doesn't use much electricity at all. You're right. the fan is going, the glow plug is out, so there's no power going to the glow plug. The only power you're using is for the fan and the pump. And the pump is pumping once every however many seconds you got it set for. 1 or 2, 3 pumps per second. So it's off and on. It's not like on continuously all the time. When the power goes to it, it pumps. Then the power goes off and it goes back. So it's off and on. But the fan is going continuously all the time. But it doesn't. I have a unit here that I hook up calipers, around the wires to see how much amps it's drawing. It's nothing, next to nothing. They're very efficient, in my opinion. I don't care about the inferior quality of a Chinese diesel heater compared to an S-bar or whatever made in British Columbia, which is 5 times the amount of money for one. I can buy 5 Chinese heat. I've never even heard of a Chinese diesel heater that blew up or had a fire. Or yes, they have problems, but so do the S-bars have those problems. The same one. A glow plug for my Chinese diesel heater was $25 for 2. For one glow plug for an S-bar is over $100 for one. So, and yes, they do have inferior quality of metals and the way it's built and everything, but that's the whole idea behind the Chinese. They build them as fast and as cheaply as possible, but they do function. At the end of the day, you get the same quality of heat pumped into your unit as a one that costs 5 times as much. You just have to exhaust this someplace where the fumes will not come back up. Right, yeah, you just exhaust it outside. Now on my unit, the intake goes towards the front of the vehicle, and the exhaust, they come out inch apart, but the hoses underneath, you go one to the back, one to the front. And my exhaust it's pointing right at my rear tire. So my tire is nice and warm. But somewhere it can't come back up in the vehicle. That's right. And you can have extensions. You just can't have the extension too far. Then that does something to the burn quality. I don't know how, but I one guy studied that a little bit. Even the intake, But for my personal, and mine, I've had mine for 5 years and it works perfectly. I've had to replace the glow plug twice. Once, like it's made out of, the actual glow plug is made out of, what is it, porcelain or ceramic or something? And now when it cracks, and that's very delicate, but when it cracks, it doesn't work anymore. So why it cracked the first time, I don't know. It probably just failed. And then, so I purchased, I got 2 of them, like I said, but back then they were $18 for 2. So the second time I had to replace it because I thought, maybe it's full of soot or something, just because I heard somebody saying that if you run your diesel heater on idle for a long period of time, it'll get soot buildup. So I took mine apart just to have they're easy. I think it's 9 bolts and the whole thing comes apart. So I took it apart just to see if I had soot in there, and I opened it up, nothing, no soot. And I ran it for 2 whole winters. There was nothing in there. So, but when I went to put the glow plug back in, I turned it with the incorrect wrench. I was using a plier because it goes way in a hole. And now I have I purchased a wrench that's made for that. I haven't used it yet, but it's made a socket wrench to go in there, and because the glow plug has wires coming out of it. And so I broke the tip off the glow plug, so I had to replace another one. But that was my fault. Other than that, I've had absolutely no problems whatsoever with my glow plugs at all. or with my whole diesel heater. And I purchased extra gaskets for where you take that apart. And I've also got the gasket maker tube stuff you can put on there if you want to. So you don't need to have the gaskets. I have extra glow plugs. I have an extra pump, which it's brand new. The burn chamber I don't have, and extra pipes. I don't have anything. I think that's pretty well. There isn't many parts and pieces you can have for. Oh, the little screen, the mystifier screen that the glow plug goes into, and then when the pump pumps the fuel in, the size of a pea goes in there right on the screen, which mystifies the diesel fuel, and the glow plug, once it's going, it just the heat keeps it going. There is no glow plug anymore. But when you're first starting it, it mystifies the diesel, and then the glow plug ignites it better. So that little screen can get clogged up. So I have some extras of those. I've never had to replace them, because if you take the screen out, you can, it's like hold it with a pair of pliers and take a torch and burn it and burn everything off of it if you need to. Yeah, and that's the funny thing, Tommy, is the diesel heater will never break down in the summer because you don't use it. But in the winter, when it's cold and something happens and it breaks down, now you've got to get out in the cold and fix this thing. And when you're living in a trailer, you could have the unit, well, your unit is inside anyways. But for me, it's under my bed and I can't get at it. I have to go outside the vehicle, and I have a door on the outside of my van a big door, the size of a person door, where that's where I would work on it. So if it's like 30 below outside and I have to work on this thing, I got to take it, pull it out. It's hard to get out of there and work on it. But when it's inside the vehicle and you can just like lift up in a cabinet or something, you can just easily get it in and out and work on it. I know it might be a little cooler inside the unit until you get the heat going again, but my goodness, I had to do that when it broke the glow plug the first time. It's obviously cold outside when it fails. It's not in the summer because you never run it, and I didn't run it all summer at all. I just unhooked the wires so that it's not powered at all, and turned it on, and because in September, I think it got cold, -1, and so I had to turn it on. And when I first turned it on, how you in a house, in a sticks and bricks house, when you turn your furnace on for the first time, it smells like burning dust, from dust that just landed in the burn chamber or whatever, and burns out. That's what it smelled like at first. But once that was gone, yeah, you want to make sure you have extra parts. So, all right. Well, I don't know. I want that my friends didn't show up. That's too bad. Must be. I don't know what time it is there, but they're probably sound asleep. My coffee is getting cold. I think, isn't that Ron? He must have a live right at the moment. He's like on 24 hours a day. And he usually gets a lot of people in there watching. That's amazing how he gets that many. And the other night he had like 20 some in there. Must be a popular guy somehow. I don't know how much. He probably doesn't do much talking though. Everybody's chatting in the comment section there amongst themselves, and he just probably says things what going on in the chat window there. But I was in there the other night, anyways. He's not on at the moment, but he was on earlier today already, and then last night. Obviously, he probably comes on at every night at the same time, and then he'll probably do just pop-ups now and again. Nothing else to do, might as well have a live, I guess. If you're just going to sit there and what do? Watch TV? So I guess you might as well have a live stream. So the thumbnail that I had for Wayne's World Word Game was actually a word from the word game. And I think it was Rob on the road. He types in the word and he says, "This is a word." And I never realized that was one of the words from the game. And there again, Sundays are usually a day. I don't really do too much on Sundays myself. And I figured, well, a lot of people are not working. So they're sitting at home doing not too much, probably at noon, unless a lot of people like go to church in the morning or something, or by noon, you know, most of them are having lunch or something there at home. But it all depends what time noon is for you. If you're in my province, noon is the same time. But if you go one province either way, noon is different. Well, I remember one time when I had a live, I just popped up in the evening, and it was like 10 or 11 at night. You were here, Tommy, and then I think Sharon was here too. And you said you're going to watch Ron. I popped over at Ron. It must be 2 or 3 in the morning for you guys. You were still on there. I saw you there. So, holy smokes, you guys don't sleep. Your work any day ending in Y. That's every day. Almost too cold. I don't like cold coffee. And I don't have a microwave, so you can't heat anything up. All I have is a stove. I don't even have an oven. I do have an oven by Coleman. It's a fold-up oven. It folds up 2 inches wide. And you unfold it. It makes a box affair. You set it on your burners on your stove, and then that's the oven. Well, there's a little gauge on the thing that just tells you it's getting hot. It's got no temperature readout. It's just the dial goes over and it's hot. I made baked potatoes. I like to have baked potato every now and again. I made baked potatoes in there, but it's not the same as an oven. It takes a longer time, and you have to keep opening it and looking inside or testing it to see that, you know, how hot or put some sort of thermostat inside to see that and it all depends on where you put your whatever I tried to make biscuits or something one time. Now, it was kind of horrible, because if you put your biscuits either too high or too low or in the middle, wherever you put it, it's never right. But usually always the bottom would be burnt black and the top was still like raw, not even cooked yet. So it just didn't work. Not good. So I gave up on the whole idea. It's just packed away. Doesn't work very well at all. Homemade chili. Ooh, perfect. And I like homemade chili. I make my own homemade chili too, but um, I'm trying to get more on that uh, Dr. McDougall kind of diet where it's no meat at all in your diet. For me, that worked. Um, so you make chili as just a vegetarian type chili. It's still just as good. There's just no meat in it, no hamburger or no bits of steak or whatever you put in chili. Just none of that. It tastes just as good, and I should do that one day. A vegetarian type chili is very tasty, and I still can't stay totally away from. I don't know. I can't get back on that wagon that worked for me. Um, I'm having a rough time. Like no meat, no eggs, no dairy. Well, then you think, well, what the heck else is there to eat? uh, whole foods, plant-based whole foods type of diet. That isn't as good as it usually is. No jalapenos. I didn't have any to put in. Oh, you put jalapeno peppers in there. Now that would be good. And it's hard when you're living in a vehicle. And I do have a stove and everything else, but it's harder to cook. And especially when you're cooking for one person, that's pretty hard. I don't care if you live in a house or wherever. It's just harder to cook for one person. Um, because when you buy things to put into whatever you're making, it's usually too much. So you've got to have a nice fridge or make a bunch and then uh, eat it for several days. Like I made a chicken noodle soup here maybe a month ago or so, and I made a big batch, knowing that um, like you buy carrots and celery and corn or whatever you put in there, you might as well make it worth your while. And but then I was eating chicken noodle soup almost like every meal for a week, and you kind of get sick of eating the same thing over and over and over again. So then it sits there, and then either if you don't eat it, it goes bad, and you have to throw it away. So, oh, well, see, I don't have a freezer, unfortunately. That would be nice, though. Then it's different. Then you could put it in the freezer and open it up when you wanted it. Like you could just, but when you put it in the fridge, in my fridge, um, the chicken noodle soup, yeah, it keeps cold, but it can't keep for a long period of time in there. Um, the cold, stops reaction from going bad, but not complete. No, won't stop it, but slows it down. Whereas freezing would, stop the action at least to keep it in the freezer for a long period of time. So yeah, it's pretty hard to believe it or not. I actually throw quite a bit of food away simply because it's like too much and eating too often, like all the time. Um, I did make some. It's called uh, traditional bean soup for us is um, the white navy beans with potato cubed like 1 inch square potatoes and a dough dumpling, a hard dough dumpling, and you need pork bones and you cook that for a long period of time, or just throw in a bunch of bacon and cook it up. And the potato and the beans. Now I made a big batch of that, and that was fantastic. But even then, it was just like too much. So when you're eating that all the time, it's and it was like a family favorite. You wouldn't, things that I could remember that were great was that, like that bean soup, um, pierogies, big homemade pierogies, not like the little ones you find in the store, and with cottage cheese in them. It's very, very hard to find. You can't find pierogies you buy in the store that are made like my homemade ones. And then the cream sauce that we had to put on it. Um, we wouldn't get that really often, but when we did, that was our favorite foods when we were kids. Like, it was just, I loved it. It was fantastic, and I learned how to make that myself. And every now and again, I have to call my sister and, okay, how do you make that dough again? What goes in that dough? And I mean, not very many ingredients: beans, potato, and then the dough. Uh, to make the, well, dough is flour, eggs, salt, milk, and there you go. It's that's the dough. So it was very, very tasty. But I always, maybe I overdo it too. But I have a big pot there, and I make sure that it's filled to the top. And at the moment, when you eat your first bowl, it's like almost too hot to eat. You want to, but you gotta eat it anyway. It's like too good. And one time I put the potato in a little too early. The beans are the hard one. You soak them overnight so that they swell up and they get a little bit softer. And then you cook them for a long time until they get nice and soft. But I put the potato in too early. So by the time the beans got done, the potatoes were gone. They were just like fell apart and were just part of the soup base. There was no potato in it anymore, and but the beans were still a little on the hard side. So you have to cook the beans for long. I might make that again before I go to Mexico. That sounds so good. I might try that again and just make a smaller batch. And I love the dumplings, so I'll make a lot of those. So I might try that again before I head back, or head to Mexico. That's one thing I did today. I was looking up online about Mexican food. What Mexican foods to avoid as a um, diabetic. Now, if I'm trying to get off the meat products, well, when you have tacos, a lot of those are there's meat in there. But I think tacos in general would work. It would be pretty good. Burrito, like if you have a bean burrito or something. Because I don't know. I love Mexican food. It's all spicy. I love that kind of the heat and the spice, compared to American type food like hamburgers and fries. I avoid that like now, like the plague. Well, see there, Dr. McDougall, the one that I follow, meat is meat. Whether it be fish, chicken, turkey, beef, whatever it is, it's all meat, and it's all not good for me. But fish is probably one of the better. It's not red meat. I mean, I know, but that's just according to him. And uh, I think if I eat that once in a while, it's not bad. Like when I went to Mexico, I have a fish burrito or fish taco. Those are great. I'm sure that those wouldn't, as long as they don't spike my blood sugar too much. And then when you're trying to avoid fats, like fat is in everything you purchase, especially if it's in a can or in a box from the grocery store, it's some of them are just loaded with fat. Now there again, I'm not a doctor, but for me, I learned from Dr. McDougall that you can cure type 2 diabetes. You can actually cure it. And that is basically, from my understanding, I mean, I know it's way more complicated than what I make it sound like, but basically, your cells need energy and they need glucose, which is sugar. And so your body produces insulin, and all your cells in your body, or let's say here's your cell, it has receptors for the glucose, the sugar, to go in. But they can't go in because insulin has to go into the cell first and then open the door, and then glucose can get in, and now your cell is nourished and it's good. But the whole idea is insulin has to go into the cells first. So when you eat something, your glucose builds up and up and up, and if it can't get into the cell to help it, well, then your blood sugar goes up because it can't get into your cells. So that's why you take all these pills, metformin and all those things, to help your body produce more insulin, because on a type 2 diabetes, you don't have enough. So how do you get the insulin into the cells? Well, the door for the insulin to get into is plugged. It can't get in, it's plugged. And what's plugging it is fat. So if you could get the fat out of there, insulin now can go in, and now it'll open for the receptors for the glucose to get in. And I said, like, in a nutshell, that's my understanding and how cells work. I know it's way more complicated than that, but basically, that's what happens. So if you stop eating fat, and it doesn't take long, it only takes just a few days, and the fat will go away from the cells, and now insulin can go in there and open up for the glucose to take effect. And so that's the idea, eating too much fat. So get this: no meat, no dairy, no eggs, and no fat. Like any oils at all. The fat you eat is the fat you wear. There's nothing in fat that's good for you. Like olive oil. You take a perfectly good olive, which has everything in it, and you suck the oil out of it. And now you use that oil. Why do you use that oil? There's nothing in oils at all that's any benefit to you. There's no vitamin. There's nothing in oil. So anyways, I'm not a doctor. So I do get some people arguing with me about that, but that's just from my experience and from this diet that I was on worked for me. And for some reason, 10 years ago, when I first heard about that, I thought, well, okay, I'll try it. I just went cold turkey. I jumped right in, both feet. Didn't eat any meat at all. Tried to stay away from fat completely. I didn't cook with fat at all. Like, I didn't put olive oil or something in my frying pan and fry my onions. I use just water. And you can do the same thing with just water. You can make your gravies and everything with no fat. You can make, I ate potatoes almost 3 times a day, like for 3 meals. There's many, many different ways you can make your potatoes. Just don't put butter on them, and don't put milk in it to mash it up. And that kind of diet I really liked. Like potatoes, pasta, rice, beans, like all the things that I really like, as opposed to a diet that says eat a lot of salad and like vegetables. And yes, fruits and vegetables are good for a whole food plant-based diet also, although some are not good for you. But to be on a diet that has mostly salad, what happens to that great big bowl of salad that you eat? You'll be hungry in an hour because it just goes down to nothing. So when you eat that much potatoes, that's a lot of potatoes, that same amount. And in a whole food plant-based diet, you really can eat as much till it comes out your ears. It's perfect for a diabetic. And I know people will argue about that too. Well, you don't get protein and you don't get that. You get everything you need, all the vitamins and minerals and everything that you need from a plant-based diet. My dietitian, I told her I was going to try this Dr. McDougall plant-based diet. And she said, well, I said, it's natural foods. I'm not taking any extra pills or anything to, it should be okay. So I'll try it for a month or two. So I tried it, went on the diet, lost 50 pounds without even exercising. I didn't even know I was losing weight, and I was eating lots of food. Like my plate was big, like, wow. And I went back to the dietitian, and she checked my blood again. We go to like do your blood work, and my numbers came back totally perfect. And they took me off all my medications, my metformin, my high blood pressure pills. I had 0 pills, because if you start taking metformin or something to get your blood sugar down, but you're also controlling it with a diet, then I would go too low. So the doctor said, you can't be on these. We have to take you off. And I was on 4 metformin a day, which I am on now again. But back then, anyways, the dietitian says, well, what the heck are you eating anyway? You're fantastic. We're going to take your picture and put it up on the wall. You're a model patient. We've got to show other people what can be done. And I said, well, I'm eating everything you told me not to, like potatoes, sweet potatoes, pasta, rice, corn, beans, all that type of stuff that I really like and fill my plate full. And she said, but that's lots of carbohydrates. I said, it's not the carbohydrates that give you diabetes. If you study what carbohydrates are good for you and what aren't good for you, you'll understand that the long string carbohydrates, molecule wise, are the good ones, because they take a long time to whatever it is. The short ones are the ones that turn into sugar like fast. And potatoes, pasta, rice, corn, beans, all that stuff fills you up. So when you're full, you're full, and you're full till for a long time. So I said, I'm eating everything you told me not to. You told me don't eat a lot of carbohydrates. That's not good for a diabetic. Well, Dr. McDougall, if you go to his clinic, if you live near him or in California somewhere, and go to his clinic and under his supervision, right away he takes your glucose meter and throws it away, throws it in the garbage. He says, we don't want to see your numbers. We know that once you start on this diet, your numbers will go high. because you're probably not used to eating that kinds of foods. But eventually it will start coming down and it'll stabilize and it'll be much, much better for you. And that's exactly what happens. But this is one diet out of what, 300 or 400 that are in the world, like a keto diet, all those diets. There is one that's a total nothing but meat diet, lots of protein. Well, yes, you will probably lose weight on all of them, but could you imagine like eating poisonous stuff that's not good for your body, like eating meat all the time? Just check up on meat and what it does to your system, and having that only for diet. My goodness. Whether you believe we came from Adam and Eve or whether we came from ape man, no matter what, we're here. And if you go back in time before processed foods or before foods were available in stores, you had to go get your own. People were like Chinese were eating rice. There was no fat Chinese people. The Russians had potatoes. The Mayans had corn and maize. And all civilizations had nothing but starchy foods. That's what they ate. And it's the starchy foods. People associated starch, believe it or not, like with clothes stiffeners. Starch that you put in your clothing to make it stiff. And then the beef industry came. Now, this is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. You cannot just say, don't eat meat. That you'll never stop that. You have to study what about meat. I've had two doctors, believe it or not, Dr. McDougall, and I follow him and his people that are on the same kind of wavelength. And then there was another doctor. So I said, I looked up colon cancer. What's good foods to eat for colon cancer? And one doctor came on and said, one doctor that I looked up said, eat this, this, and this. But he said, red grass-fed meat is one of the best things you can eat for colon cancer. Maybe you can't completely eliminate it, but you could slow it down or stop it. And then I look up Dr. McDougall, and he says, red meat, grass-fed, like that kind of meat is the worst thing you could eat for colon cancer. So there's two doctors that went to school and studied how to be a doctor. And you got opposing answers. Well, who do you believe? Like, you just have to, I guess, pick one or study up on one. Are there more doctors that say about this, or are there more doctors say about that? Like, how the heck do you pick one and believe what they say? Like, holy smokes, man. Very, very, very hard. But what I'm thinking is, when you listen to why you don't want to eat meat, it's what the cows eat. They eat grass with all chemicals and whatever's on the grass or that's in their meat. And even if they're sheltered and they eat grass fed, but that has no chemicals in it whatsoever, it's still, the cow processes it and makes it into beef. And it's the chemicals that are in the beef, even if he eats properly, that aren't good for your system. I'm sure way back when, like I said, whether you believe in Adam and Eve or the caveman type of how you got here, they must have been eating some sort of meats. But basically, how Dr. McDougall got started, this is how basically he went to Hawaii and he was living there. And because he's studying whole food, plant-based diets, he would look at Hawaiian people, and they were obese and what have you. They would come in to see him. He'd put them on some sort of a diet, blah, blah, blah. And he would say, well, your parents or your grandparents, what are they? And they're not fat. They're living long lives, and they're perfectly good. Well, what do they eat? Well, they eat pasta, rice, and potatoes, and all those types of things. So that's the whole idea. The new generation, McDonald's and all those fast food places came into existence, and grocery stores, and you can buy everything in a box, and it's filled with preservatives and what have you to make it so that it lasts and what have you. And no wonder there's a lot of big people. Like I'm not fat, but I'm overweight. Losing weight can help with your diabetes too. But when I look around, I see a lot of big, heavy people. There is a lot of heavy people around. And how did you get that way? I know a diet that will make you thin, not right away, but will make you thin, is sew your mouth shut. Everything you put in here makes you either fat or thin, right? So it's what you put in your mouth. So if you could sew your lip shut, you could lose weight. So anyway, I like I said, I'm not a doctor, and I guess I've ranted on for about maybe 3/4 of an hour about how to eat. Please don't take that as gospel, and I'm right. That I'm right for me. I'm only right for myself. And sometimes I get a lot of flack, saying, well, you said to do this, and well, like I said, don't take what I'm saying as gospel. And like I said, it worked for me. And Dr. McDougall, even, he says, if you're going to go on that, they don't call it a diet, they call it a lifestyle. Yeah, I still don't eat well. And as a matter of fact, I think everybody knows, I think that's diabetic at least, that eating oatmeal, like porridge, they call it, or eating oats is in the morning as your breakfast is supposed to be a good thing for diabetics. So I went back on it again. I got the oatmeal, I got the unsweetened applesauce to put on it, and some kind of a maple syrup to put on there, because oatmeal itself by itself is a bland food. You need to put some fruit on it, like apples or something, to make it taste a little better. But I had a big bowl of it today for 3 people, 3 servings. But oatmeal, believe it or not, makes my blood sugar go high. And I didn't test it today. I don't want to. I don't want to look at my numbers, because that's the whole idea, is don't look at your numbers. When you take your A1C, that's an average of every 3 months. We do that in Canada here anyway. If your A1C is at like 5, 6, 7, you're good. Mine was up to 7 point something at one time, but it's back down again. Frosted sugar cookies. Well, if you're not diabetic, those shouldn't be too bad. That's the sugary part. So now I'm actually looking, when I look on a can or a box of something, I know buying from a can or a box is not good for you to begin with, but I don't really look at the sugars. Oh, the first thing I look at is the fats, how much fat is in there. And then secondly, I look at the sugar. So there again, the doctor that I follow there, any fats and all fats are not good for you. But there's fat in every single thing you buy. So is there such a thing as an amount of fat that is okay to eat, like so many grams of fat a day? Or is there something that's okay about that? Or eating zero if you can do it? I got some oatmeal to stretch my bread machine bread that I'll be making soon. I guess I'll be making oatmeal bread. Now that sounds really good, actually, there, Ronney. Oatmeal bread. Ship me some. I ship my pants. Ship, I said. Ship me some. Oatmeal bread. Wow. And if you have a bread machine, I can't run it in here. I'm not hooked up to power, and I don't have enough juice. See, my power went up by 0.1. It's 13.3. And an hour ago, it was 13.2. The sun has gone down. I have a very efficient solar panel. It really doesn't really even need the sun to boost up. I know sun shining right on it will get it to go up quicker. But it's weird. Like when you have a battery, and right now it's saying it's got 13.3 volts in it, and if I turn things on and the day we get into nighttime, it depletes really quickly. And yet in the summertime, when the sun is really high, it gets 13 point something or 14 volts in there, and then the night time comes, but yet it stays really high. It's like your battery is this big, and you I don't know how to even explain it. It's, even though it says it's 13.3 volts, it's not like full. It's up there, but it's not full. So when I start using it, it goes down quickly. But then in the summer, it says it's 13 point some volts, but it's full though. And it takes a long time for it to get down. So when you're only working from half down, it's like your gas tank, I guess. If you're always using your gas from half to empty, you're going up and down, up and down. Yeah, you got gas. But if you have it full, I used to run my vehicles, not this one in particular, but my last vehicle, I always ran it from full to half and then filled it up. Never went below half. It was always full up. It's got to do with the air in there and what have you. But anyways, so I have pretty efficient solar. But oatmeal bread would sound pretty good. I don't have a bread maker though. I'd have to make that by hand. And I'm not quite too sure what goes in there. And there again, eggs are not a good thing for me, for a diabetic. Whereas the doctor says an egg is a perfect thing to make a chicken. It's got feathers in there, it's got his beak in there, it's got his feet, all in one egg. Can make a whole chicken. But to eat that is not good. It's something to do with, I don't know, the chemical, what it's made out of. Dairy is not good for you either. I'm sure having an egg every now and again won't hurt you. But like when I was on this diet, like the first time, I just went cold turkey. Absolutely no meat, no eggs, no dairy. It's amazing. And I ate potatoes sometimes 3 times a day. But you make it to your taste. It's got to taste good. No sense eating something you don't like to eat. Like on that, I called it a bird food diet. Like a lot of salad. I mean, I like vegetables, but I'm not really a vegetable salad eater. When I go shopping, I zip through the vegetables and then fruit section. Although like oranges and apples and bananas are you eat as for a snack after. But just even to buy, like, if you're going to make a vegetable soup, to buy carrots and peas and corn and celery or onions or whatever to put in it, you got to buy like a whole onion. You can't buy just enough for the soup, unless you're putting the whole smaller onion in your soup. And the celery, you got to buy like a whole big stalk of celery, so you've got a whole bunch left over. Same with carrots. Unless you can buy, like some stores have, yes, you can buy individual stalks of celery and individual carrots, so you can buy just enough for your soup. But so even I have to make a big batch of soup, like, and then I don't want to eat soup like for a whole week. I know it tastes good and all, but you just get sick of eating it over and over and over again. And there again, like bread was another one. Is not good for diabetes, but McDougall is saying that if you're going to eat bread, make sure it's white bread and not your whole grain breads. Caveman, or back then, didn't even eat. They took the husks off and made white bread. Sugar was another thing. All sugars are not good for you, but the pure white granulated sugar is better for you than anything. What he does on his when in his seminars, and when he has people that come into under his care, a diabetic, he actually increases their white sugar. You would think that's the opposite thing to do, totally opposite in my opinion, my way of thinking, and yet it works. So anyways, you'll be making the oatmeal bread. I'm not sure. Do you have the recipe for the oatmeal bread? It's obviously oatmeal. You put like, it must be the steel cut, like really fine, almost like a flour. It can't be the whole grain oats. And then what do you put? All flour in it too, and then eggs and milk and salt or yeast. How do you, like unleavened bread? Is it unleavened? It's called. That's with bread with no yeast. I suppose it won't rise like a bread that has yeast in it. And I don't even know about yeast. That's a good one. I should look that up. Is yeast good or bad for you? Why would the ancient people, like in the Bible, how come they made unleavened bread, no yeast bread, at what do you call Passover and stuff like that? Now that's a good one. Most the other times the bread was normal bread. I don't know where they got yeast from to make their bread back then. What the heck? Where does yeast come from? Is that a plant? That's just a yeast plant? Yes, you use the whole oat. I just found the recipe in the bread machine cookbook. Sorry, I don't know offhand. Oh, that's okay. So you go and you just buy the whole kerneled oats. I've seen on some bread like a whole grain, like multi-grain breads, where all the little seeds and stuff are on top. I guess they must be inside the bread too, but they're on top. You can actually see that they're whole grains, and I've seen them. I must have seen them with oats on top. So they must be in the bread. I've never cut into one. So that must be what it is. A crunchy type bread. And I suppose it all depends on what you put on it too, that makes a difference. So what the heck, my friends? It's windy here today. I can't even go fly my drone. I want to fly that thing so badly. It's so much fun compared to the other one. The other one I do to make videos out of. This one here I fly because it's fun to fly. But it's way too windy for it. It's almost too windy for my Mavic to fly. But what I should do, it's holy. Yeah, and I don't have an oven to actually bake it either. I have to buy it from a bakery if I'm going to eat bread. I just picked up a loaf of just white bread just the other day here from a grocery store that bakes their bread fresh every day. I used to like when my mother made bread. When you have nice hot bread when it's fresh out of the oven, man, that tastes good. Yeah, and like I was just saying, when it's fresh out of the oven, nice and warm bread, and you put your butter on it or whatever, and it just melts. Boy, what a nice flavor. Love it. So what do you say, guys? Should we end this? I've been on for 2 hours. I should let you get on with your day. I'm sure Ronnie's got bread on the mind. He's got everything that's necessary. And Tommy's eating or going to probably do her homemade chili. I think I might try that bean soup again one time before I head out. I've got another 9-10 days before I go. On the 9th I go. So 10 or 11 days. And that soup is just fantastic. Just the saying it makes it sound, ooh, I got to have that. And I should do that. But anyways, it's too bad we didn't have our word game today. At one point, there was probably enough people in to play, but would be nice if we had like at least 10 people playing. When I did give prizes away, Paul from Wakey RC was in the house here earlier. He had won I gave away a bracelet, or one to the 3 bracelets, first, second, and third place. And we had a lot of fun playing that game. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And everybody that joined in, they didn't join in just because it wasn't fun. So yeah, I am excited. The problem is, I was supposed to go on October 19th. And on the 18th, I went to the Medicine Hat Airport here to ask some questions, to see if my bags were going to fit or going to work. And then I came out and I'm sitting in the van and I'm on the computer and my phone rang and it was the doctor. And he was saying, you have your blood shows that you were bleeding internally. And the red cell count or something, I don't know how they can tell, but it does something to your system. And you had bleeding right just below your stomach, right where your the bile comes in. Like your liver makes the bile and puts it into the gallbladder, and then the gallbladder puts it into your food when you eat, and it makes it digest your food better. Well, that's right where I was bleeding. And now I was told to go to a specialist to have a look, to check for cancer and what have you. And right on the day before I was supposed to go to Mexico, the 19th, and that was the 18th. And so I thought, they throw a scare into you. So I said, okay, I canceled my flight. And then I called the doctor and said, okay, I canceled my flight. Get me into the specialist. Well, she says, you're in, but it could be next week. It could be next month. It could be 3 or 4 months from now. And I thought, wow, I'll never get to go to Mexico this winter. But I'm worried about, what's going on inside. Because you just don't bleed for no reason. So a week went by, and I thought, well, what the heck? I know if I go to Mexico and I don't have insurance there, that's not a good thing to do. I know and I understand that, but I can't afford insurance. The minute I tell them I'm a diabetic, the insurance coverage almost triples the amount. It's like $2,500 if you're almost perfectly healthy for 6 months. If you say you have diabetes or some sort of heart condition, it goes up to triple for 6 months. So, and I know that if something seriously happens to me when I'm there, that's not a good thing. I know that, but I only live once, and I figured, okay, I booked another flight. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to go there. And maybe a lot of cancers, when you first get it, colon cancer, you've probably had it for 6 to 10 years already. That's how long it takes. So it's not like it's something brand new. And it could be like, I know I was bleeding for some reason. It just doesn't happen because. So that's what scares you. But I thought, what the heck? I'm going to go there anyway. So I don't feel like too bad at all. I don't have any other symptoms of that. And my history of my parents, my grandparents, nothing, no colon type cancers or no cancers at all in our family. That doesn't mean I'm immune to that, but so it is what it is. So if I'm still alive and I'm still okay, I guess I'm going to go and have the best time I can. And when I come back, it's going to be May the 5th when I come back. Nice and going to starting to get warm here again. Then I'll go to the doctor. He might phone when I'm there and say, okay, can you come in? And I say, sorry, book me in again. I'll have to wait the 6 months again or whatever it is to get in. But it is what it is. And you can't live your life in fear, I guess, all the time. It's nice to go and check up, however they check up on you. There's a whole bunch of methods I don't like. Not that I'm afraid of them to begin with, like how it's just like a colonoscopy thing is, in my opinion, like barbaric. Yes, there's only a 7% chance that they perforate your colon and you can die from that. I know that. I know it's only a 7% chance. There's a percent chance of everything that happens. But it's just the invasive method where they could do other ways to find out. They can put you in an MRI and give you whatever in your blood system or in your system to check for the same thing. Like, what are they doing a colonoscopy for? Just to go in and have a look to see, you have a polyp here, or you have this, you have that. And maybe even to remove, ones that are big or whatever is right there. It doesn't stop the cancerous things from happening. So anyways, that's the deal. I'm going on November the 9th, which is 9/10. Today's the 30th, so 10 days. In 10 days, I'm going. If I feel really bad, well, and that's the thing. You take the money out of your bank, you put it over onto WestJet or whatever airline you fly with, and you pay for your ticket, and then you decide to cancel. They don't just give you your money to put back in your bank account. They put it in a credit. You have a credit, and you only have a year that you either use it or lose it. So when you're paying that much for an airline ticket and you can't go, well, I guess it's gone. So anyways, guys, I'll let you get back to your day. I want to thank each and every one of you that came in today. And man, I love yous all. And if nobody has told you today that they loved you, let me be the first. I love each and every one of you, all my brothers and sisters. Whether you accept it or not, that's up to you. But I do. And I appreciate each and every one of you that come in here. And it might not have been super fun, but we had a chat. You listened to my whining and crying or whatever. So have a great week, everyone. And a great rest of your day as well there, Tommy. Have some of your chili. Heat that up. Nice, good on a cool day. Nice comfort food. And right on, guys. It's nice to hear from you. Stay tuned for next Sunday. I should be able to have another live here yet before I go. So next Sunday, what is the 9th? Let me just have a look-see here. October and November the 9th is a Wednesday. So on the 6th is another Sunday. So on the 6th, we'll try to have another live. I've got pictures. Sharon has sent some in. I have some more. If any of you that are here still, if you want to send some photos in, I don't know if my email is in the description below. It should be. I hope it is. Send me something. We'll put them up maybe next week. And if we have a whole bunch of people in, we'll have that word game. Stay awesome, guys. Be cool, be kind. And I love yous all. And we'll see you next Sunday. And hopefully I can put out a couple of videos in the week. I don't have very much because I haven't filmed anything. But stay tuned. We'll catch you all next one. Stay cool.